Hey guys, I'm Mehul Patel and I'm going to talk about meningitis in South Sudan. Environmental issues. As you can see it in pictures, Sudan suffers from inadequate supplies of potable water, and because of warfare and excessive hunting, Sudan has declined wildlife population, soil erosion, desertification, and periodic droughts. And Sudan has been affected by global warming in a negative way. Here are some basic services and social protection in South Sudan. On July 2011, the Republic of South Sudan became the world's newest country. 30% of the population has access to safe water. Less than 15% of all Sudanese have access to improved sanitation. 30% of population has no access to basic health services. Some political facts and issues of South Sudan. First, how do the government came into force? Southern Sudan Legislative Assembly ratified a transitional constitution shortly before the independence on July 9, 2011, and it was signed by the President of South Sudan on the Independence Day, and thereby it came into force. Second, developing state capacity. The government of South Sudan has had significant success in building its own capacity by developing an integrated system for planning and budget preparation. Third, National Capital Project. Creation of new planned city to act as a seat of government. As you all know, Juba is capital of South Sudan, which is also the state capital of Central Equatoria. And due to Juba's poor infrastructure and massive urban growth as well as lack of centrality within Sudan, government adopted a resolution in February 2011 to study the creation of a new planned city to act as a seat of government. As I come on to main topic, what is meningitis? What are the symptoms? Meningitis is inflammation of the protective membrane covering the brain and spinal cord, known collectively as meninges. The inflammation may be caused by the infection with viruses, bacteria, or other microorganisms, and less commonly by certain drugs. The most common symptoms of meningitis are headache and neck stiffness associated with fever, confusion or altered consciousness, vomiting, and an ability to tolerate light or loud noises. It can be life threatening because of the inflammation proximity to the brain and spinal cord. Condition is classified as a medical emergency. Some more causes and symptoms. Causes: infections with microorganisms, viruses with bacteria, fungi, and protozoa. Symptoms: in adults, severe headache, nuchal rigidity, sudden high fever, altered mental status caused by the bacterium Neisseria meningitidis, known as meningococcal meningitis. Some drugs that are used to treat meningitis and its mechanism of action. Cefotaxime, used for infections of the respiratory tract, skin, bones, joints, urogenital system, meninges, and bloodstream. Mechanism of action: it inhibits the bacteria's cell wall synthesis by binding to one or more of the penicillin binding proteins. It inhibits the final transpeptidation step of peptidoglycan synthesis in bacterial cell wall. Second, trimetoprine, used as monotherapy since 1980 in UK, and it is indicated for the prophylaxis and treatment of urinary tract infections. Mechanism of action: it binds to dihydrofolate reductase and inhibits the reduction of dihydrofluoric acid to tetrahydrofluoric acid. Tetrahydrofluoric acid is an essential precursor in thymidine synthesis pathway, and interference with this pathway inhibits the bacterial DNA synthesis. Third, garamycin, used to treat many types of bacterial infections, particularly those caused by gram-negative organisms. Action: garamycin injections contains the aminoglycoside antibiotic gentamicin sulfate with broad-spectrum bacterial bactericidal properties, especially for sensitive aerobic gram-negative and gram and Staphylococcus aureus. This 2D and 3D structure of cefotaxime. It's a third generation cephalosporin antibiotic and has a broad spectrum activity against gram positive and gram negative bacteria. It is used for respiratory tract, skin, bones, joint, and urogenital system, meningitis, and bloodstream. Trimetoprime. It's a bacteriostatic antibiotic used mainly in prophylaxis and treatment of urinary tract infections. It belongs to the class of chemotherapeutic agent known as dihydrofolate reductase inhibitor. It used as monotherapy is indicated for prophylaxis and treatment of urinary tract infection. Here are some studies on bacterial meningitis. First, OPC gene as a specific genetic marker for human bacterial meningitis. The article suggested that this method of diagnostic is expensive, time consuming, and non confirmatory, and it is a PCR based diagnosis, and the study gave the confirmation of disease. The amplicon of 304 BP of OPC gene does not show homology with other organisms and can be used as a specific genetic marker for detection of Neisseria meningitis causing bacterial meningitis in human. RMPM gene as a genetic marker for human bacterial meningitis. It can spread from one person to another through coughing, sneezing, or close contact. It is diagnosed from cerebrospinal fluid of patients using culture, PCR, immunological, and biochemical tests. Scientists developed a quick PCR-based detection of Neisseria meningitis. The process is overall 80-minute process. The amplicon of 308 BP of RMPM gene does not show homology with other organisms and can be used as a genetic marker for human bacterial meningitis caused by Neisseria meningitis. Use of a new single multiplex PCR based assay for direct simultaneous characterization of 6 Neisseria meningitis serogroups. They have developed a new Neisseria meningitis multiplex PCR to determine 6 serogroups, including X-specific primers, and to allow direct W135Y discrimination. This assay offers a simple and low-cost method for serogrouping Neisseria meningitis from cerebrospinal fluid that could be useful in Africa. And some references for my presentation.